Hey everybody, good afternoon. It is 2:50 p.m. on Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Hope everybody had a good day, good night yesterday. And as Forex Brizio, just doing a quick update from yesterday's video, just to follow up on the what's happening with the yen, and then a couple of other pairs, and this futures asset I'm looking at here. So let's just get right into it. And again, guys, before we get started, if you're just finding the channel for the first time, please hit that subscribe button down in the lower right hand corner of the screen, and appreciate it. And then hit that bell notification down below so you get notified when I post new content. And make sure you smash that like button. Really helps me out. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, so just take a second and do that for me first. And then we will get started here. Okay. All right. So let's first briefly talk about the futures market. So again, yesterday was a U.S. holiday, so nothing really moved yesterday. So for today, so again, the one that I look at mostly, this is the E-mini Nasdaq. So it's the futures market for the Nasdaq 100. And so this is an index, basically a futures index. So as of yesterday, like I said, I had this zone in here as a potential supply zone for price to react and bounce down on. And you can see today we came pretty much right up to it. Here it is on the 10-minute time frame. We didn't quite make it. So, I'm not jumping into any shorts right now because we could easily just blast right through this. If I go back to a 4-hour, if we get through this one, then there's probably a secondary one up here. So this, if it gets through here, this would be the next zone I'm looking at. So, in the meantime, potentially, you could play long positions off the, off the moving average. But I'm a little bit cautious taking any trade right in here just because it's so close to this supply zone still. And I'm not sure if this is where it's going to react off of. Obviously, there is a reaction off of it because a lot of traders see this zone, so it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But whether the large banks and institutions want to hold that area or not, that's what's going to determine it. So, and like I said, if it gets through this area, then this is the next area where I'd be looking to potentially look for shorts. If it gets through here, there's definitely some long positions that could be played up into this next area, as that would be at least 100 points. So I'll be keeping an eye on it either way. So going back to the short time frame, since we did kind of touch the zone here, if for some reason this does turn out to be a supply zone, then this, where I have this horizontal line, is kind of the structure area. I'd be looking for price to, basically come down from here and, break this structure. Something like this where it breaks through here, and then we get maybe a little retest of some kind, and then that would be the sell, okay, from wherever this retest is. So that's what I'm looking for. So in the meantime, I'm just standing aside. I didn't take any trades on this today. Today is really the first actual trading day of the week, with yesterday being a holiday, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's just talk about yen pairs. So as I said in the video yesterday, we have the Bank of Japan is becoming potentially much more bullish on their currency. They've bucked the trend in terms of not raising interest rates. They're the only major central bank that has not aggressively raised interest rates in the last year. And they've been practicing their quantitative easing and really weakening their currency purposely for a long, long time. And, recently they've kind of changed their posture, which is why you've seen yen pairs begin to sell down as the yen has begun to strengthen since basically, they started, talking about this, back around early fall or so. And so their next meeting is going to be very telling, which is tonight. So if you look tonight, so it always says tentative because there's no set time, but sometime tonight during the Asian session, they will put out their outlook report and their policy statement, and then they'll have their press conference. And so I'm in Eastern time zone in the U.S., so this usually happens somewhere between like 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. for all this stuff to happen, so I may or may not be up for it. but I'm going to try to at least be up for these two parts of it. And this is going to be very telling. This is going to be very directive of what the yen is going to do going forward here. Okay, so and it kind of bears out on the charts, because if you look, the yen, a lot of these yen pairs have just been moving sideways. This is the Aussie yen. You can see just sideways. Dollar yen sideways. Euro yen. Euro yen did actually go down today, but this was more on euro weakness than it was yen strength. So that this down move was across the board on the euro today. So the yen was kind of neutral in this. Swiss yen again, basically moving sideways. So that's because, again, the large institutions and traders are just kind of waiting to see what the BOJ is going to do. And so I think after that comes out tonight, we'll have a much better idea and potentially could see a larger move on the yen. And right now, people are pretty much expecting that they're going to continue to talk up the yen, and we'll see a bullish yen, which means these pairs will all drop off. And again, I think there's certainly room to the downside. As we talked about yesterday on the Swiss yen, this one's got quite a bit if it breaks through this level. It's sitting at a key level. But if it gets through here, then, it's got a long way to fall. And it's pretty much across the board with all of these pairs. Here's dollar yen. We broke through this layer. Now we're down to here. If it gets through here, the next really major area of demand is probably way down here at the origin of this up move. So, I think that's the general consensus, but we'll see tonight, unless they do a 180 and go back to their dovish stance, which would really surprise people, and we'll see these pairs rally. But at this point, if they continue their kind of more bullish stance, and potentially talk about raising rates, which they haven't done, then we will definitely see these pairs sell off pretty aggressively, and that probably will continue for a while. So this could be really excellent trades if it works out to that effect, but we'll have to see. And again, that will happen tonight, later today, tonight, depending what time zone where you're watching this from, but somewhere in the next 7 to 12 hours or so, we probably should have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do. So that's the yen pair. We did have Canadian dollar CPI today. Everything came in pretty much as expected. CPI, the actual CPI month over month came in actually down a little bit. And the median CPI, trim CPI, everything came in actually was slightly down. So that's why they show in black, because it wasn't big enough difference. But this is technically bearish to neutral for the CAD. But the CAD did still pretty much strengthen on the news. It chopped around for a little bit, weakened a little bit at first, but then it turned around and ended up strengthening on the day. So most of the CAD pairs did have some movement down. So if we look at like Euro CAD,
I found this on the web.
We had this action. This is the 15-minute chart. So the news came out right about at came out at 8:30. So came out at 15:30. So the news came out right about here. We saw it rally a little bit and then just kind of sold off after that. Dollar CAD looked pretty much the same way. Okay, this was that news right here. So so we did see some strengthening of the CAD, but overall it was a little bit of a mixed bag on the news because the market obviously probably was still looking for stronger CPI numbers, and they didn't get them. So inflation, it's a good thing, if these numbers are legit. It is a good thing for consumers to see these inflation numbers continue to fall off, although these still are really high. But, they've gradually backed off a little bit. They were expecting, oh, shoot. I didn't even refresh this. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, here's the actual numbers. I didn't think that looked right. But anyways, yeah, as expected, came in about what they expected. So the actual CPI number was flat. The medium and trimmed actually came in slightly higher. And, this is why there was a lot of indecision, because although the core number was down the headline number was flat. The other ones came in actually slightly higher. So basically, I just take that as inflation really hasn't changed all that much, and we're still seeing, increases in certain sectors, or at least continuation. Now, if we look compared to the last reading, the trim CPI was 5.3. This time was 5.4 last time, and the median was 5. Last time was 5.1. So you can make a case that it did drop slightly, but I think the market took it as kind of flat, which is why we saw things kind of bounce around. So sorry for that confusion, guys. I knew they didn't look right. Okay, so anyways, guys, but again, the highlight of all this really is the yen. I will be looking for potential yen trades at some point, depending how this goes. We could have kind of a wild ride during the Asian session. I don't know. I'll have to see how it goes. I don't usually like taking any trades in the Asian session, but we'll see how all the news comes out. And if I don't get it, then I'll be looking to potentially get on board maybe during the London session if I can wake up and check things out a little bit once that gets going. Because if it turns out they're going to be more bullish, continue that stance, we are definitely going to see the yen strengthen and all these yen crosses fall off. So anyways, that's what to look out for in the next several hours going forward. And that's it. So we'll leave it there, guys. Questions, comments, anything, please drop them down below. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day, and trade safe. Thanks.